Man, it's another episode of Real Shit Let's Talk podcast, man, exclusive. Listen, let me tell you, this woman here, affirmations, confirmations, prayer, center around peace is all what she's about. Man, let me introduce you to Miss Lisa Lovett.
Thank you.
Let's talk about it, man. Okay. So again, what got you to be so peaceful?
I don't know. I feel like I've always been that way, but I do know that I had in 2020, I had a resurgence maybe in life.
Okay.
A lot of things happened. I lost my mom in 2020. That was July of 2020, the same day that my father died years ago. And then my oldest son's birthday. So it was like, it just came down on me so hard. And then 2 months later, my oldest brother called me and said they found a spot on his lung, and a week later he was gone. He had stage 4 cancer and he didn't even know. And the length of time, I just didn't have time to recoup from grief. You know, it's like losing a counterpart, you know, your mother, and then to lose your brother. It was like it was too much. And I just remember trying to go through the process of grieving. And instead of grieving, I was angry. I shut down. Mm-hmm. It was, I had so many thoughts that I didn't think I was capable of having. There were moments when I just wanted to clock out. And I don't know, life just, it hit me hard. And then I was 37, about to turn 38 at the time. And I don't know, you know, if it's the same with men, but once you kind of get closer to 40, mm-hmm. life just kind of, it knocks on the door like, what you doing? You know, what's going on? So that, I think, was definitely the transition that kind of just sparked everything in my life.
So then you would say that you had to take ownership and accountability mm-hmm. for self-emotions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a very closed person, always been. And that for me shifted the way I felt about emotions, the way I displayed it. I no longer could just keep that in. And I allowed myself to be angry, to cry. Mm-hmm. You know, in the process of grief, they don't explain it to you. I was young when my father died, so it was different than being an adult.
Okay.
And so the process and going through it, I thought it was something wrong with me, actually. You know, I didn't know that you could be angry after someone dies. Mm-hmm. And so there was a little bit of guilt. But then I realized it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to open up. And for the first time, really, I let myself cry and get it out. And it was such a relief, something that I needed, but also a little self-awareness that I locked a lot of stuff in and mm-hmm. I didn't open up.
I love that. I love that. I would say this, and to be transparent for me, in men, we don't have that mm-hmm. outlet. Mm-hmm. The outlet is it's bottled up.
Yes.
It's within layers of being a sponge mm-hmm. until the sponge is so full that you can explode at any moment.
Absolutely.
You could just not care.
Yes.
And I would have to say, just to men in our generation or around our age brackets, mm-hmm. Black men especially, not saying not other men as well, mm-hmm. but all men, but specifically to Black men, that it's okay to cry.
Absolutely.
I can honestly say this past July, I actually cried for the first time.
Wow.
And in front of my boys, in front of my family, and in front of my dad.
How did that feel?
Emotional, transformal, mm-hmm. transparent, mm-hmm. uplifting.
Yes.
And it caused me to look at my boys different because they saw me very vulnerable. They know me as being the more militant one, the more stern one, the more I don't give a parent, but I love you. You know that. I'm going to do this for you. And my dad actually listened.
Wow.
And I could say that I had forgave him years ago for anything that I thought of as a kid and anything I thought as a teenager and in my 20s and so forth like that I might have thought. But actually, July 19th, I had fully forgiven. So we can always say that in being transforming to the man that I am today, I have to thank my parents. I thank my dad because my dad is an astute man. He never see him fall or never see him break. He's always on it. If there's a will, there's a way. My dad is going to make it happen. So that's how I felt like I had to be.
Yeah.
But it's only so much internal damage.
Absolutely.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically to some degree, that it was a relief. So learning at this age into my 30s, learning that it's okay to talk about it.
Yes.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. And for anybody and everybody that's listening, I say, listen, man, if you need to cry, you need to talk, please either find me, you can DM me, you can call in the sense of like, that's your way of sending an SOS message. Absolutely. Because we don't have that time frame to just be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
A man would love to be more miserable and undesirable than to be vulnerable.
Interesting.
And that's just what I picked up on. Like we have to work hard. We have to lack of sleep, lack of money, lack of food, lack of anything that is loving and appreciative toward our spirit or toward us, because we are like, we'll say this, the analogy is a woman's up here on top of the mountain, a guy's down here in the valley, and he's climbing to the top to be there, to be this greatness or to be this audacious man. Well, I have to say that like I've learned that, and for you to have to go through it and you centered yourself around, hey, I got to be peaceful.
Yes.
I got to get it together.
Yes.
I don't have time to wallow too much, but I've done it already and it's behind me.
That's right.
And so one of the things I would also say too, for me, it was uplifting, was that it was a weight off my heart.
Yes. Yes. That was the biggest thing for me too. A cry, and I mean really crying it out, you realize how much you have held in for so long. And that weight was lifted off of my chest. But I'll also say too, I had a mother that was very, very strong. So I didn't see her. I'd see her stress, but I didn't see her crack. And so she raised me to be firm, independent. So I followed the footsteps of how my mother taught me. And I became that. I became a shell. I didn't realize that I did. You know, I thought that I was doing what I saw my mom and my aunts be. They were the same, so we followed the same tune. And then I realized, wow, you know, it was purpose in the way in which she reared and raised me. But I also recognize as well that in all honesty, my mother had issues because she didn't allow herself to grieve through certain things that she was going through in her life. And so that was a lesson for me. At that moment, I said, I'll never, ever walk through another path and be that stern and hold in my emotions, because it didn't serve me a great purpose. I thought it did, but it didn't. It didn't at all.
Would you like to get in the room with like-minded people? Man, I got a community called Accountably Squad Community. Comment ASC at the bottom. Man, this is a community where we hold measurable goals, smart goals, and achieving and just building the building blocks and the foundations to get you to the next level where you want to be. Man, hey, ASC, Accountability Squad, link down below. I've learned that too, man. I can honestly say, like, the same way that as you speak, I felt like I was going in that way, right?
Yes.
Just holding so much in. But I also know that what got you to this place is you had to go through something in order to become who you are today. I don't know, you have kids?
I do. I have 3 boys.
Did you, now, in that transformation, was it still part of their bringing? Did they go through it with you? Or this is something that is still in the works?
They, that was the first time they saw me break. Because of course, you get you're told in front of your kids, your mother has passed away. It's like it shocked all of us. And again, we were celebrating my oldest son's birthday. So it was like, what? And the time period after, with everything that was transpiring and happening, they saw a decline in my mental health as well. So it was them checking on me, making sure I was good, but also me understanding I didn't have the answers. Like, I've never gone through this before. What can I tell my kids? What can I tell my sons? And then I'll even say as well, the same way that men tell their sons, don't cry, I'll admit that I was the mother that told my boys, suck it up. Suck it up. It was the moment when we had our mother's funeral and I looked at my boys and they were crying and I kind of looked and they were and I had to put my hand on them and say, it's okay. It's like I had to give them permission to cry. And that was the moment that broke me as well, because again, we don't know the power that we instill in our children. They follow through, but in that moment, they had space to grieve, but they thought it was inappropriate to cry. And I had to let them know, get it out. And then the moments after, they grieved as well. And I had to have that conversation with them. I am so sorry for telling you over the years that as a boy that are going to bridge into a man that you can't cry. If it hurts, cry. It's not less than for you to do. But again, when we are, told, women and men, suck it up, keep moving, keep going, that's what you internalize. And I did more damage in telling my boys, suck it up. Suck it up. So now they have open space. Whenever something bothers them, emotionally ridden, they can't deal, they can't stress. They might not cry in front of me, but you got permission to cry. Don't ever feel like you have to hold it in.
Emotional. Yes. Change is on the way. I love it. I love it. But I have to say this though, you being the woman that you are today and going through what you've been through, do you think, what is the next level of evolution or evolving for you?
I'm learning every day. I'm picking up every day. I think it just, it opened up a gateway of learning. Okay. It opened up space for me also to share little pieces of testimonies that I've gone through in my life as well. Because again, when you are a closed-in person, you don't share, you don't talk, you don't, but the future that I see for myself is just being open, absolutely open to understanding the experiences of other people and just sharing from a place of knowing, been there, done that. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it. Do you like speak at like poetry night and different things of that nature?
So I have something coming up next month. That will be my first like poetry venture with a large audience. But spoken word has been something that I don't know. How old are you?
We're the same age.
Okay.
We're the same age.
Okay. So back when HBO had Deaf Poetry Jam. And so during that time, I was a freshman in college. And so that was like the big thing. And so we would do like spoken word, type of things because we was feeling the vibe. And then it kind of like dissipated. But it's always been something innate to me. So I'm glad to kind of bridge into that space of heart space and then spoken word as well.
If you could say to a younger version of yourself right now, what would you tell the younger self person looking in the mirror?
Baby, go slow. Go slow. I think that I felt in many moments in my life I had to move fast. I had to know it all. I had to get it right. And so the advice would be, baby, go slow. Go at your pace. Things will happen. It will come. You will conquer. You're not in a rat race. Just slow down. Just slow down.
In the moment of defeat, what is one of the affirmations that you use to pick yourself up?
We're not finna be stuck here. Not gonna be stuck. When you are in those moments of defeat, you feel like you are absolutely at the bottom. It feels comfortable to be stuck. It feels comfortable to lay in your bed and cry. It feels okay to let days go by and just be there. But I had to get to a point where it was like, I'm not moving. So the affirmation and affirming to myself, get up, move, and go, because you're not finna be stuck here. That was the thing I had to tell myself every single day. Because you when you feel yourself falling, it's a decline. It's a rapid decline. I didn't want to be there. So I had to affirm to myself, get up.
Self-affirmations.
Absolutely.
And do you would say that you have a village around you that supports you?
Definitely. Definitely. I have. I am a very intimate person. So I have a couple of friends.
Okay.
Because friendship to me means not on surface, but baby, we deep in friendship. Okay. And so when I say that someone is a friend, you like my sister. We done went through some things. And so my village is so strong. I got women who pray for me. You know what I'm saying? I have women I can talk to, and we be on a one-on-one level. It's no judgment. It's an understanding. Those are the type of friends I have. And then, the friends that just look out for me. All of those are inner workings. I definitely have a village of women who build me up and also come to me with, correction. If it don't look right and it don't sound right, they put me in my place and we do the same. And it's a beautiful exchange because ain't nobody feeling slighted. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody's feelings being hurt. It ain't nobody calling names. It's just, it is what it is. Once you get to a place and you operate in a space where there's an understanding, it's all love. I'm just doing it to better you and vice versa. That's friendship.
I like that. Friendship. Listen, guys, get you some good friends.
Yes.
But don't, how can I say this? Don't be so quick to call everybody your friends.
Come on now.
Because everybody is not your friend.
Yes.
They are a frenemy, which is sometimes they see you doing better and they want to be attached to whatever attached to you. You also have to look at self and what kind of friend you are. The metaphor that I like to use is be the canvas or paint the canvas how you envision yourself to people. People will always pinpoint what the negatives are, but be quick to disappear when it's hard, disappear when you're going through it. Not being able to listen because you're not speaking that language of money, fancy cars, or women, or men, or extravagant remote places and vacations. Because you have to remember that just because it's a vacation does not mean it's your destination. You're there by chance, not by choice. And I just have to say, like, choose your friends wisely.
Yes.
Like, I have a circle of brothers that I have 5. That's it. I can call any time of the night, any time of the day. I can reach out. They might be like, why you call me like that? But, you know, what's up? I'm up now. Let's go. You know, but one thing I can say about brotherhood is that we have to get back to a society where telling another man I love you is not like intimate like that.
Yeah.
It's, hey, bro, I love you, bro. You all right? You good? You hungry? You need something? And even if it's not that, give them a hug.
Yes.
And not like, you know, you don't have to be feminine hugs, but it's like, hey, bro, you know what's up? You know, how dang, like that.
Absolutely.
But also too, like, I've learned from me, instill into your sons and your husbands and your boyfriends and whoever that you love them, that that's okay, that they can talk to other men about real issues and real situations. I think one of the things that I can say that's very affirming is listening to you when you're like, peace, hey, today, on today for today, tomorrow will be tomorrow. Worry about that later. Worry about today. When you speak to yourself, the way that you be speaking these affirmations, it's just like, sometimes it's like, it's like, I'm sitting there like, what? Oh, wow. I didn't think like that. I was thinking negative. Like, I was, when Tevin pulled up, that's one thing. Just want to let you know. But I was listening to affirmations on the way. I knew, because I showed up a little late, but I knew, I was like, I had to listen to something positive. And I was hitting it on the highway though. I was like, yeah. But the affirmations is just like, man, I am so thrilled about today. I'm so excited about today. Don't know a lot about it in the sense of like what setup looks like. I've been on a set and I've seen it like more and less at the same time. And I was like, wow, this is what I'm really doing. It's about to happen. And it was the lady's place who told me, don't go for less, go for more.
Come on now.
And I was like, but, and so, like I like to say is, when you put but in front of a sentence, you erase what
everything
you're
that
saying.
goes after.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I have been really, really blessed. I can just say, and humbled.
Yeah.
And so, like, listening to your affirmations and listen to how you talk to self, it gives us self-awareness to say, I love me.
Yes.
And me loving me is a better version today than it was a year ago.
Yes.
2 years ago, 3 years ago. Some of, like I said before, the weight of what I have experienced or what we've been through is not what we are living.
That's right.
And that's what I had to learn. That's what your affirmations taught me, or it's teaching me at the same time, because I'll forever be a student, right? And I've learned that it's forever I'm going to be able to be a student, then I'll be forever learning. It's kind of like the Karate Kid. I might learn martial arts and I might learn the craft and I can beat any opponent, this, that, and the third. But I would never be able to evolve in self if I know it all.
Yes.
Because I don't.
That's right.
Do you think right now that you would host like a women's event, like
absolutely,
like a ball or something that would bring or united women together?
Absolutely. Definitely something that I have been thinking about, and maybe in a year or so. I am in the mental health space. And so that is something huge that I know that we need. Not a glam. Listen, no, not to women's events. but it is some can be very vainglorious, cute, you know. I want to, as women, listen, we don't have time for surface level stuff. Women, men alike are dealing with some real issues. Layers upon layers. Baby, we need to cry. We need to hold hands. We need to talk about it. We need to allow those traumas to cease, let go, find our triggers. Let's talk about them. That's the type of event that I want to host. It's nice being cute, but baby, you got to cry through that makeup.
Hey, y'all heard it. You got to cry through that makeup.
You got to cry through that makeup.
Listen, I think, you know something? It's, I had a perfect person that is also in that mental health space. She's a therapist.
Okay.
And that was one of my second to last episodes. Y'all would be great together.
Okay.
I would definitely like to link y'all up together because it's listening to, and I'll say this, listening to women, not just to listen, but to be heard is different. Sometimes as men, we are the solution, but not the resolution. And it causes us to just listen and not for you guys to be heard. So I believe what you're doing is changing the game. And like I said, like I didn't even care about the numbers. I saw it was, listen, I lie to you not. I set, you know how it says interest, not interest. I scrolled down and I was thinking something. And I was mentally challenging my emotions and my spirit. And you came down and I played it over and I played it over and I played it over. And I sent it to several mothers. I sent it to several brothers. And they, you know, boys, we be like, I'm gonna put a heart right there. All right, bro. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna put a salute like that. But the women, it was transformational. It was like, you sent this to me. I had a lady, I sent it to one lady back in, we used to work in California. 2021, I sent it to her. And she was like, wow. She was like, I thought you forgot about me.
Aww.
Like that. But I needed that at that moment. And it came through. And I was at the breaking point of what I'm going through to let it break me down because I got a lot going on. But when I opened it and I saw that you thought about me, I thank you. So I always like to say thank you because keep doing what you're doing. I believe that we have to possibly do it where men and women, maybe it's I think it's called cohort thing where, hey guys, all the men on this side in another room and then all the women in this side. And then once I'd say a day, it's a day, so a full day, and then bring them back together.
Absolutely.
Because I've learned that there's something that I like to say that you might need to hear.
Absolutely.
And vice versa.
Absolutely.
So do you think that your men, do you think that your boys will choose a woman of your caliber or somewhat like you by chance?
I've always instructed my children to choose a woman who shows that she's independent in a sense.
Okay.
That she's intelligent. That she is one with her emotions.
Okay.
So to pick and say, well, you got to pick a woman like me, that's unfair because on the surface, she could appear different. But I want you to have key components when you meet a woman. Know her history as well. Have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
How were you with your mom? Was your dad in the picture? Because all of those seep into relationships. How are you going to communicate? It's so many levels. We have to prepare our kids for the things that we know now. Not because she look good, not because she smell good, not because she's educated, baby. We got to move in. So to say she got to be, like your mama, that's unfair. I want what they want, but pick out good qualities. Pick out good qualities. And I say independent, my first thing that I tell my boys, find you an independent young lady, okay? Because I think the most important aspect of that is if she's leaning on you to supply something, she'll always lean on you for everything. Emotionally, monetarily, like she'll always pull from you. And in relationships, you have to have some form of reciprocity. She's going to tire you. So if she has an independent sense of self, she has an independent sense of everything, And I think that's the most important. But sometimes too, independent women can feel as if they don't need nobody, So that's why I say again, her emotions. How is she? Is she angry? Is she sad? Fill out those things as well. Know her history. Know how she is with her mom, how she is with her dad. How is she with her family? Those are key components too.
I love that. I love that. I would say something to add to that independent, right? Being independent, like I feel like the root word is dependent. Or I should, dependent.
Dependent.
I would want to say that I would want to be able to depend on that person.
Yes.
And the toughest or easiest situations that may not on the surface be calm, but internally or mentally be like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
I think that's really good. I've learned as well as for us in general and like the culture, that is being independent is glamorized.
It is.
Being dependent is not. So what I like to say is that we have to be the solution.
Yes.
And become the not necessarily authoritative person, but come to support.
Yes, absolutely.
Being dependent does not necessarily meaning I need you. I want you. It's more in a sense I desire you.
Absolutely.
That's why that's like when I took that word independent, I just like, hey, break it down. And I've learned and I'm learning more about self after relieving the barriers that were bearing down on my heart. Now I wear the weight on my shoulders. And when I say wearing the weight on your shoulders, it's because I am a father of boys. I am a leader of a community that's holding me accountable.
Yes.
As I walk day in and walk day out. And the hours might not be what I like them to be. It's more of I need to show up. I need to show up for self.
Yes.
We got some snacks for you now. You heard that. We have some snacks for you now.
Yes. You know what's interesting though? I always said if God stood in front of me and said, at the end of life, I'll give you another chance to live and I'll give you the chance to be a man or a woman, what would you choose? I'm going to choose a woman every time.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to choose a woman every time. And I think that I know that God does things for a reason.
Okay, preach.
When even you talking about the responsibility that a man has, it is great. I think as women, now this is me as a woman talking to a man. I think sometimes as women, we don't affirm, recognize, see how hard it is to be a man, to have the responsibility to have the responsibility, number one. The moment that you say, I want a family and I'm going to take care of a family, that is the sole responsibility of a man. And a man can't make a mistake, because if a man makes a mistake, that means he's no good. There is no space for a man to make any type of mistake, and that's unfair. Number two, dealing with your emotions. Life is hard. Then to be a Black man or a person of color in America, you already got enough hitting towards you. Then you got to come home. Then you got to be on your job. If I had to choose again, I just want to be a woman. And then also to hear my boys talk about things as well, the unfairness and just what they deal with as young adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's extreme. And my heart does go out to men. And I think sometimes too, we as women, we could never put our feet into the shoes of a man. It's so heavy. It is a lot. Like, you have to be straight and narrow and have everything together. And the moment that you make an error, you're no good. And then women can be so judgmental. Instead of lifting that man up, they bring him down. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Well, baby, he worked from 9 to 5. Then he had to come home, and then he got to do this. And it's so kudos to every man.
Hey,
every Black
kudos
man
to every Black man too. Hey, I hear you. I hear you.
Yes.
I would say, man, like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because it's moments like this, right, where it's peaceful. You sometimes I could just sit in blank silence and I'll be okay. Like, I start my morning now because I have a 21-day accountability challenge workbook that I took recently this month of August. And I would say I would get up by 6:15 and like I meditate, I'll do all these other little things and this, that, and the third. But by 6:30, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
I'm getting more into self-awareness of grounding and learning that the things that are around me don't consume
That
me.
part.
And I think that, I know that the music that we listen to, I know that the shows that we watch, I know that the people or the unresponsive thing called the TV, which triggers an emotion and then makes you do things or act a certain way because he or she or they did this. It's messing up with the culture. And then as you would speak of to the forefront, it's like, let's change the demographics.
Please.
Let's reverse what has been and let's begin paving one step at a time. And so one of the things that I say to my people is reach one, teach one.
Absolutely.
I don't know it all.
That's right.
And I definitely am not the smartest person in the room. However, I'm for damn sure not the slowest either. So I have to realize that what you speak of is so true. More people, I would say this just for you, I would love for you to speak at a conference. You would say that you're introverted?
I'm a much so an introvert.
But I think that this is just me. I just painted this picture real quick. It's a black curtain
Mm-hmm.
And it's a stage. I'm gonna get you I'm gonna get you something to eat. I promise I'm gonna get you something to eat. We gotta get us something to eat. I'm gonna get you something to eat. But here's the picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stage.
Yes.
And how we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dissertation to the little girl out there, the little boy out there, the grown man out there, the soldier out there,
yes,
the doctor, the nurse, and everybody. And you're speaking on a genre of things, whether it's transgender or not, you're speaking to the masses. And so there's this black curtain, and you're talking, and you're letting them know that if you don't have somebody, you always have me. And then the curtain drops. And you just see a room full of people that are just crying because they never heard somebody say, I'm here for you.
You know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
Again, God is funny. He is hilarious. He is. The reoccurring nightmare that I always had pre all of this.
Go ahead, break it down.
It will wake me up at night. I am not a speaker. I am very closed in and I'm an introvert. But the dream that I would have was that I was on a stage and I was talking to women. And it was scary to me because, first of all, I don't do that. And it became like this nightmare. And so last year, a young lady reached out to me to do an event in Boston. She stayed in my inbox and she stayed in my inbox. I told her, I said, oh, I'll think about it. Child, what? So she finally went in my inbox again and she said, I really feel like you would be great for this event. She said, can we do a Zoom call? I just want to kind of give you the ins and outs of what I'm thinking about doing. So we had the Zoom call and she just reassured me, that everything would be great fit, blah, blah, blah. And in that moment, I was listen, and that's the thing too. Before I was going to cancel the Zoom call. I was going to lie and say, oh, something came up. So we did the Zoom call. And at the end, she said, I'm not going to push you for an answer. But if you don't want to, I understand. But I would really love for you to. And I started crying. It's like God was like, if you say no to this, then I'm going to stop everything that I have for you. Like I felt it in my spirit. And I said yes. Reluctantly, but I said yes. And so we did the event. I was so nervous. I had overprepared. And she came up to me before I was to go on stage. I was like the second person. And my friend was there with me. And I was like, girl, I don't know what the hell I'm about to do. I had everything like written out. I'm a planner. So I had, notes and an outline. And I said, for whatever reason, now that I'm in this space, I feel like my message is not what I prepared is not what I'm supposed to do. And I'm scared because now I got to go off the brain and I'm just afraid that I'm going to be trippy. And she said, Lisa, just let God move you. So I went up there and I spoke. In the first 3 minutes, I was so nervous. And my friend was standing at the back of the room and she was like, you got it. It's a room full of people, but she was like, zero in on me. I got you. And 3 minutes, I was scared. And then something happened. I paused. It's almost like I lost my train of thought. And I paused and I got really nervous because I was like, oh, what? God took over. And that was the first time in my life that I let go and let God. Sometimes we try to control the narrative. We try to control ourselves. We try to control the path. And God is literally like, just let me lead. If you just stop trying to control everything, I got you. I needed that moment of breath, that moment of pause. And God was like, I'm taking over. And so that was an indication that he had transitioned me from my little shelled self, you know what I'm saying, into knowing and believing that I could do the impossible.
The impossible can be possible
Yes.
in God's way.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, guys, just stay still and let God transform and be transparent through you. Let me ask you one follow-up question. What made you say yes to today's interview or agreed to be on?
I feel like God is moving me to a place where there's an openness to say yes to some things that feel good in my spirit. So I pray over everything now.
Okay.
So if it doesn't resonate, if I feel hesitation, if I feel a pullback, I'll say no to it. But I felt good when I got the email. Even though I was like, it's Atlanta. Got to drive in the I hate Atlanta. I hate Atlanta. But I felt good about it. So I agreed to it. Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate it. I really, really, really appreciate it.
You're
I
welcome.
will tell you, like I said before, scrolling through and going through something and the answer is right there.
Yeah.
And that's how I went through a lot. I didn't want to be like, you want to be too creepy. Like. I like this one. I like that one. I like that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. I said to myself, this is what we need to hear. This would change somebody's life. This would change the situation. This could say, hey, before I offer myself, somebody out there cares. Someone is listening. Someone is willing to face their fears with me or face my fears together and bring it in unity and not disparity.
Come on now.
But I like to say thank you for just coming on and being who you are.
Yes.
And just, like I said, this particular podcast right here, guys, this episode is going to be the chill vibe, the intimate vibe that of something
absolutely
different and something that can be revolutionized to say, if you need a person to talk to, how can they contact you or reach out to you?
Sure. So listen, if you just want to listen to something, you can go to my page, Season Dialogue, Season_Dialogue. I also have a podcast, Season Dialogue with Lisa Marie. And now recently I'm doing coaching for women and men. It's under the bridge of self-love, but you also know that self-love does with underlining things of trauma and maybe issues with yourself. So if that's something that you need, you can reach me. You can go to my page and you can sign up for a free consultation and we'll go from there.
Listen, guys, this has been another exclusive episode of Real Shit Let's Talk podcast by the wonderful Miss Lisa Lovett. You can contact her. Hey, if you ever want anything, guys, just DM us. And we out there.